Hello YouTube, Freddie Cardona here. Welcome back to another episode of Driving and the News. Today is April 20, 2023. And let's get you right into the news.
About the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George, 35 to 40 minutes with a stall, taking out the right lane on the upper level. So the lower level is a little bit better. 40 inbound at the Lincoln, 35 at the inbound Holland Tunnel. And here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Eastbound LAE at Willows Avenue, an accident cleared. Both the northern and the southern slow down in both directions right by the Wanto Parkway. Traffic is sponsored by Ocean Edge Resort and Golf Club. Traffic in transit every 10 minutes on the ones and breaking traffic alerts whenever they happen. I'm Sue Aller, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Elevate your vacation experience at Ocean Edge Resort and Golf Club on Cape Cod. Stay in a mansion room or a Presidential Bay Collection villa and enjoy private beach access. Couple it with golf, tennis, spa, destination dining, and more. Get to downtime in no time. OceanEdge.com.
The search is on this morning for a remarkably bad driver who, while trying to escape from police in Midtown, crashed into dining sheds, street signs, a store, and a police officer,
Yikes.
in addition to other cars. Glenn Schuck with more from Kips Bay this morning.
A traffic stop at 38th and 7th just before 5 p.m. is how this all started. Then the Cadillac decided not to stick around, flying off into 30th and Madison, where cops stopped him again. That's where it really got dangerous. The driver hit the gas in reverse, striking one of the cops who was on foot. That officer, also suffering a concussion, diving out of the way. Sounded like at the moment of impact, the officer recovering at Bellevue. Now the speeding driver then flying down the sidewalk, barely missing pedestrians, crashing into a fire hydrant, street sign, and an outdoor dining shed near the Mason Jar restaurant. Inside, Sam DeCina.
Coming out of it, a lot of us were, we were shaking and we were really scared.
The Cadillac found abandoned at 30th and Lex, and the driver gone. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM, here in Kips Bay.
The parking garage on Ann Street that collapsed on Tuesday was due for an inspection, but not until the end of the year. Investigators are now trying to determine why the garage didn't last long enough to get inspected.
New video from inside that New York City parking garage capturing the thunderous moment it collapsed.
My whole apartment shook like an earthquake.
The three-story structure pancaking, cars piled on top of each other, killing one person, injuring 7 others. Sources say the building manager was killed. Today, his body removed from the rubble. Neighbors tell us he was about to leave when the building collapsed.
Trevor Alt reporting a lot of garages around the city are getting inspected now.
Ty Mahmoudi at Hoffman Architects has been inside his fair share of parking garages.
Some are better, some are worse, some require significant work, some do not.
But regardless of the condition, all garages in Lower Manhattan are required to get assessed by the end of this year under a law passed in 2021.
My phone has been ringing regarding parking garages at the start of this year.
Doing inspections, Mahmoudi says he looks for telltale signs like corrosion.
Generally speaking, the garages are reinforced concrete. It cracks, it deteriorates. You look for water leaks. There's some signs to indicate sometimes that there's an ongoing issue there.
One concern, he says, is heavier cars. Electric vehicles tend to weigh much more than their gas counterparts, and building codes might not be keeping up. Steve Burns, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
We were expecting a Supreme Court decision yesterday on whether a widely used abortion pill could remain on the market, but as Devin Dwyer reports, the court instead decided not to decide just yet.
They gave us an extension. This is called an administrative stay. It's a single one-page order. It came from Justice Samuel Alito, and it basically said, give us 2 more days. We're extending the status quo through Friday the 21st at midnight. And so that means the abortion pill, all the regulations around it, access to it, remain the same.
No explanation was given for the delay, but analysts say one or more justices might be writing a separate or dissenting opinion and asked for a couple of extra days. 1010 Wins AccuWeather. Nice today. We'll have clouds and sun and a high of 68. It's 45 now, mostly sunny. Humidity at 63. The winds are north at 6. 45, and we're going up to 68. A 13-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl were found bruised and emaciated in an apartment in the Bronx earlier this week. They told police they'd been held in the apartment since January and that they'd been whipped, stabbed, and tortured by Michael Ramos, the biological son of their adoptive mother, who died in December. This man who lives in the building says he saw the kids but didn't notice anything amiss.
When I'll come inside, they'll be on the laptop. Like, I know that. I'll come and I'll see them on the laptop in the living room doing school and stuff like that.
He talked to ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Michael Ramos, age 34, is facing a long list of child abuse charges and criminal possession of a weapon. Cops say they found an unregistered loaded pistol on his dining room table. If you were planning on celebrating 420 Day and then going for a drive, the state police want you to know that this is a very bad idea.
State police today will be on the lookout for impaired drivers, and that includes drivers under the influence of legal weed. It's a crime here in New York, just like driving drunk. Authorities say have a designated driver, it could save a life. And if you get pulled over for driving impaired, the court fees and fines are in the thousands of dollars. So it's also expensive. And in Connecticut, this is part of a campaign running today.
Don't drive high.
This is the first April 20th that adult use sales are legal in the state of Connecticut. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at the Northern State Parkway in Suffolk County.
An IRS whistleblower is claiming that the subject of a certain investigation is getting preferential treatment from the IRS for political reasons. Correspondent Jim Axelrod has learned the subject in question is Hunter Biden.
Last fall, CBS News reported that the FBI believed it had developed enough evidence to bring a tax case against Hunter Biden. And it really went silent after that. We didn't hear anything. And now we're beginning to understand, in the view of this supervisory special agent for the IRS, why that is, that this investigation, in his view, at least through what we're hearing from the lawyer, has been improperly affected.
The whistleblower's attorney, Mark Lytle, has written to Congress asking for protection so his client can make disclosures on the matter to the relevant committees.
He's thought long and hard about it. He's lost sleep over whether to come forward. And, at the end of the day, he's decided that he would feel worse about himself if he did nothing and stayed quiet.
No comment from the IRS or Hunter Biden's legal team. It's the mean season in Tornado Alley.
A path of destruction near Oklahoma City after multiple reported tornadoes. Video showing the damage in hard-hit Shawnee, Oklahoma. At least 2 deaths are blamed on the storms in McLean County, where overnight authorities said they were rescuing people trapped in their underground shelters.
Rhiannon Alley reporting this man is a farmer in Cole, Oklahoma, but he no longer has a farm.
Lost everything, 5 cars, house, barns, animals, and everything else we own. This is what we have. I'm laughing to keep from crying.
A couple of people in Cole went down a manhole to ride out the tornado, and they emerged unhurt. The taxpayers of the city of New York are going to pay $53 million to about 4,400 people who were held in solitary confinement on Rikers in recent years. This is a settlement of a class action lawsuit filed by former inmates who claim the conditions in the solitary facilities violated their rights. Victor Pate was one of those inmates.
It's a recognition of the multiplicity of abuses that have happened, that are happening, and have happened over the years on Rikers Island.
If a judge approves the settlement, former inmates would get $400 for every day they were held in solitary for an average payout of about $9,000. The Manhattan Detention Center on White Street, aka the Tombs, is apparently slated for demolition, but City Councilman Christopher Marti says it would have been nice if the community had been informed first and asked for input. He says the 40-year-old building can be saved and brought up to modern jail standards.
We talked to world-leading engineers and architects, and they said that it can be done. Even the original architect wrote a letter to the mayor saying adaptive reuse can be done at this site. The community thought this was a great compromise.
There are currently about 300 female inmates in that detention center. Plans are to move them to Rikers Island. It's news time at 11. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes on the ones. Here's Sue Eller.
Jam-packed on a major Deegan Expressway on the southbound side. Only one lane is getting by right at the McCombs Dam Bridge. The left and center lanes are blocked, but a little bit of good news just after that on 138th Street. That stall in the left lane has been cleared. Let's take it over to Queens, westbound side of the BQE, right by the LIE. An accident. Also, two lanes are closed. It's a stop-and-go ride. And then once on the LIE westbound at College Point Boulevard, you have a wreck. The right lane is blocked. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Queens-bound Whitestone Bridge, an accident. Two lanes are closed. Avoid this if you can and just go over to the Throgs Neck Bridge. You also have a stall at the inbound side of the George Washington Bridge on the upper level, causing at least a 45-minute delay. Takes out the right lane right near the ramp for the Henry Hudson Parkway. We're also looking at 40 to 45 at the inbound Lincoln, 35 to 40 at the inbound Holland Tunnel. Now let's take it over to the Palisades Parkway on the southbound side, right by exit 10 in Clarkstown. An accident taking down the lane. Alternate side parking rules in effect today. Citywide, and traffic is sponsored by Parker Jewish Institute for Healthcare and Rehabilitation. I'm Sue Aller. Next report at 8:21. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on my morning commute and on my mission to record history. We'll see you on the next Driving and the News.